Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, this morning it is July the 15th. So today I want to get out and plant my fall potatoes. Now we're still dead center in the middle of a drought. Okay? It's just where we're at. And in order to get these potatoes in, I'm going to go ahead and plant them. I needed to clear this bin because our spring potatoes are ready to harvest. So what I've got a whole bucket of what was left. See? That's a potato. It's all shriveled up. They're not rotted. You know, this is what happens to them in storage. They get soft, but they're not rotted. They're ready to plant. So I'm going to take all these leftover potatoes out and put them in the garden and use them. But we're in the middle of a drought. I might plant these and they just desiccate. Okay? This is Monday. They say we might have some rain by Thursday. So I'm going to get out there and put these in the garden. Whether or not we get any rain, that's up to God. I don't have any control over that. But I'm going to go ahead and garden like I'm supposed to garden. And then hopefully later this week, if it don't rain too much, I'll get out and harvest our spring potato crop. Okay, there are some advantages and some disadvantages to fall potatoes. First off, fall potatoes, I'd never get as much of a harvest as I get from spring potatoes. Because for us, fall is generally less moisture. The spring, we get those nice big rains all the way through June. We didn't get them through June this year, so my potato harvest, my spring potato harvest, might be crap. I'll just have to determine that in the next day or two when I decide to harvest them. I don't know if I'm going to harvest them this week. We've still got 110 degree heat indexes, so it might be after this week. I think next week we're going to have highs in the 80s, which that's a lot better. That means I can work out in the early mornings for a long time before I have to go hunt shade. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Now let me show you the potatoes here for a second. Here's an example of a potato. This is the entire potato, and this is the way I'll plant it. I won't cut these up. My spring potatoes, you notice I cut them, but these fall potatoes I won't do this way. I will plant the entire potato. Why? The reason is that this potato has some moisture in it, and because it's so dry, and it could continue to be so dry, I want it to have as much moisture so it can last as long as it can until we get enough moisture for it to sprout. Now, the variety here is Kennebec. It's my favorite potato. It's a waxy potato, and where russets are flowery potatoes. Waxy means they've got more of a body. When you mash them, there's still going to be little hunks of potatoes in that mashed potatoes. Where russets, they just fall apart like flour. Okay, so they're flowery. So this is a Kennebec. It will take 90 days. Well, this is July the 15th, August 15th, September the 15th, October the 15th. Now, our first frost date is November the 1st, which last year I think it came October the 20th, or maybe October the 14th, which that'll be fine. These potatoes will be done by then, 90 days. So we've got plenty of time to get a crop of potatoes if we get some rain. If we don't get any rain, we probably won't get any potatoes. Okay? But the other advantage to these are, I will harvest my potatoes. Generally, I always harvest my spring potatoes around the 1st of October, from the 15th of July till the 1st of October, or 1st of August, excuse me. 1st of August. So those potatoes hold in the basement probably until about Christmas. About Christmas, we've used the last of those potatoes that are not all shriveled up. But these fall potatoes, I'll harvest them in October and they'll last into February. Does that make sense? So that's the advantage to fall potato planting. And fall potato planting is no different than the other. I plant each one of these about a foot apart, then I'll go back and fertilize them. So let's get at it. Store your fertilizer in a container like this. It helps it stay fresh. If you just leave it in the bag, this granular fertilizer, this is what I use. It's just a granular fertilizer. I think this one's 10-10-10. I get 10-10-10 or I'll get 12-12-12, whatever they've got. For potatoes, each potato hill needs about a tablespoon and a half or maybe 2 tablespoons of this. I don't measure it. This cup, where it's at right now, that's a pound of fertilizer. Okay, this is a soda bottle, a 20-ounce soda bottle that I've just cut off. But right about this line, just below it, is a pound of fertilizer. Well, for a 100-foot row of potatoes, it requires about 4 pounds of fertilizer. Well, I've only got 80 feet down there, so I want to do that 3.5 times and just spread it out over the entire thing. So let's get down through there and do that. Okay, that's got those planted. The advantages to fall potatoes are the weed load is so much less. I can go down through there with a tractor and plow beside them and maybe hoe one time. One of the disadvantages though is if you miss covering them with the hillers, they take some hits from the hot weather, from the sunshine, so they can have a harder time. Generally, I get the Colorado potato beetle on the spring crop, but not on the fall crop. And the other benefit is it allows me to get all the excess potatoes out of my larder to be ready to put the spring crop in. Okay, so there's a lot of advantages to planting fall potatoes. It's just one of those things. Now, as I was going down through there, I'm full of deer track in the garden. Deer tracks. I don't have problems with deer eating my produce, eating my stuff. I know some of y'all out there have problems with deer, but I leave wide margins. If you look anywhere, for example, if we look right there, okay, let me see if I can see that. That's where my fence line is. But that fence line is 20 feet beyond the stuff growed up. Okay, I do that on purpose for the wildlife. We have plenty of wildlife here. Groundhogs are the bane of my existence. I have to eradicate those regular. And raccoons every now and then I have to get rid of them. But normally, wildlife doesn't bother my garden because I leave these wide rows. Deer would rather eat honeysuckle and bushes and little black locust trees and stuff like that before they'll try and eat my corn or eat my tomatoes or any of that. I don't have problems with that, generally. I don't have problems with rabbits because there's plenty of clover here and stuff like that for them to eat. They leave my cole crops alone. Okay, I can plant kale and all that stuff out here, turnips. Now in the fall, when everything's dying back and the leaves are falling off, the deer will munch on my turnips. Well, that's just fine with me because come fall, it's time to eat a few. Okay, it's the season. And I've noticed something just right over here. Right here's my potatoes, and directly across can you see that spot right there? A fawn laid there last night. You can see the indent. Let me pull you over there where you can see a little better. Do you see a fawn laid right here? How the grass is wallered down in just a certain way? There was a fawn laying right there last night. And so Mom came by after a while and collected it, and it's out somewhere here. I have to be really careful because sometimes when I'm mowing, I find one out there. And I try not to run over them with the bush hog. That's happened once or twice since I've lived here. I've ran over a fawn. You don't mean to do it, but they're down into that grass and kind of covered up, and you can't see them until you're right up on them. Yeah. So, yeah. Live in harmony with your wildlife. Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel, subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell, it'll be right up here. When you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Now, time for me get on to the next thing and work a hoe for a little while.